We talk about abuse.
Uh-oh.
Both of us have been through abusive relationships.
Real ones. Like seriously, like serious. It's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. Could have took me up out of here. But you know what I'm gonna say? I don't look at myself as a victim.
How you see yourself?
A survivor.
You
know what I'm saying? A survivor, because I'm here talking to y'all. And it may be somebody watching this that may be going through part of what, you know, what I went through, all of what I went through, you know, and, you know, I'm not afraid to share it because I didn't do nothing wrong. But I will tell you this. I was in abusive relationships where I became a fighter. You know what I mean? You hit me, nigga, I'm gonna hit you back. So it turned into that, where I became like, okay, tonight, let's go.
I mean, for me, I'll tell you, I went through abusive relationships, and in the aftermath, I had to catch myself because I was so under the defense, so guarded, so hurt, that I became the abuser. Maybe not in the same way, but this mouth,
serious,
this mouth, baby. And I'm like, I've hurt some men, and what I recognize is that but it's like we own it. We hurt people, and hurt people hurt people, just like our abusers were hurt, and they hurt us. What is your earliest memory of being in an abusive relationship?
I'm gonna say 7th grade. I never forget. In 7th grade, I lived in Oxon Hill Village.
Oxon Village?
Oxon Hill Village.
When we moved around, that's where we lived.
I moved to Oxon Hill Village, and I was in a relationship with, I think I was, that was 8th grade, with a guy who was like this big drug dealer in the neighborhood. I ain't had no business. Like, I really wasn't even supposed to be in a relationship. He told me I was in a relationship with him.
Here, first time, but you didn't know that.
No, I didn't, because he was like the guy everybody liked, and he liked me.
You felt honored, probably.
Right?
Yeah.
And I never forget, I was drinking a soda, and he took the soda and knocked it out of my hand and like bust my lip.
Why?
And chipped my tooth.
Really?
My whole tooth used to, if anybody know me from like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I had a chipped tooth.
And they never knew why, probably.
No, my mother didn't even know why.
What'd you tell her?
That I think I don't know, I don't remember what I told her, but I surely didn't tell her that. And I was so afraid of him. You know what I mean? Because he showed, and then he just got so angry and just aggressive. And at that time in my life, you know, my dad wasn't home. I had brothers and cousins and things like that. But I knew that at that point, it would make them come, and then it would be something that I would be in the middle of.
And you were protecting the abuser because you didn't want him to have to deal with the consequences by way of your dad and your brothers.
Absolutely.
You know what I think about, like, that pattern started then, and it continued on. And for me, when I was thinking about it, I was like, I asked you, when was your first abusive relationship? I never thought back to my teen years until just now, but the truth of the matter, that was the case. I remember my boyfriend in high school, we would get into it, arguing. He pushed me, you know what I mean? He grabbed me, all that kind of stuff. It would get very aggressive, you know? It got real bad. And I remember it was a toxic relationship because although I wasn't the handsy type or whatever, I remember one time I caught him cheating on me. He had a hickey on his neck. And he wouldn't answer my question. We were leaving Southern Avenue Metro Station in his car. His car that his mother just got him, his grandmother just got him. And I was like, no, you gonna answer me. What's that hickey on your neck for? He would not answer me. And so while he was driving, I put the car in park while he was driving. I said, you can motherfucking answer me.
So, because you then went crazy now.
I went crazy, but you know the thing is, I grew up seeing very aggressive things. Like, I interpreted love and relationships through the lens of
fighting.
Sometimes people fight.
Yeah.
I've never
Physical.
seen physical.
Yeah, me
we'll
too.
cuss each other out so bad it might as well be physical.
Yep, me too.
And then for me, I kept on finding myself in those types of relationships. I never thought they were toxic. I never thought it was toxic for a man to be up in your face, screaming to the point where his spit is on your face. I never thought there was anything wrong with that. No. I didn't like it, but I didn't think anything was wrong with it.
You know, it's so crazy because as time went on for me, I started to realize that those were the type of men that I was attracting. Men that were, aggressive with their voice, or grab you, and you'd be like, "Oh my god!" And then it turned into
turn on. Y'all get in a fucking as a result.
See, that's the crazy part. Until I got into the relationship with my kid's father. You know, I was about 16 years old, and from the first time that I met him at Triple's nightclub. I never forget. Triple's nightclub. What street is that? Branch Avenue in Maryland. And the first night that I met him, he was being abusive to his car. His car wouldn't start.
What you mean?
So he jumped on the hood, going crazy. And I'm looking, and I told my cousin, I'm like, let's get back in the car. I'm gonna leave with you. But he was so cute. I was like,
ain't that how it is?
I'm gonna call him, go with him. You know, this turns into a relationship that later on turns into, a grab, a punch, a slap. You ain't leaving out the house for a week. You ain't going to school. You going with me. Just, and now that I sit back and look at myself back then, I'm like, what were you feeling?
What did you think was it that attracted you to that?
I was numb. You know what I mean? I couldn't have been feeling anything at the time, because if I was feeling what I'm feeling now, couldn't no man put his hands on me right now. Or even be mentally abusive to me. I'm not accepting that.
What do you think it was that allowed you? I was like this. For me in my childhood, I watched very volatile relationships in my household, right? So being in volatile relationships and almost being attracted to people who had a high likelihood to be volatile, I was attracted to them. I didn't realize that's what I was attracted to, but that's what I was attracted to. And that's what led me into those types of relationships. What was it from your earlier life, your childhood, that made it to where those relationships felt comfortable in a way to get into?
I think that I've always seen aggressive men in my life. Whether it was a cousin that sold drugs or a friend in the neighborhood, my father who was abusive to my mother, and I don't want to say that I looked at the abuse in other people's relationships, like my mom or cousins or things like that, and thought that it was healthy or it was right. I think that I just felt at that time victim to circumstances. I don't think that I ever looked at it and thought that it was okay. Being a product of my environment.
I got you.
You get
I
what I'm
got
saying?
you.
Like
yeah.
a victim to the circumstances of where I am, the type of
you.
men that I was attracting, the type of dudes that I was being around. Like, that was what was around me.
It kind of was what it was.
It just was what it was, and I wasn't the only one. It was like everybody around me was
yes,
in
everybody's relationship was abusive in some way, so I had no way of being able to see anything different.
I didn't.
And for me, I have to think about how when I've been in abuse relationships, how the abuser first, let's not even call him abuser, how that person first came into my life. They often were the people who were, when you first met them, for me, very assertive, very aggressive about getting your attention. And so for me, that felt good. If somebody wanted to get my attention, you checking on me, what you doing, where you going. I felt like somebody was paying attention to me. My parents were wonderful parents in the best way that they knew how. But the reality is that my mother was going through what she was going through. My dad was going through what he was going through. And sometimes, in retrospect, I can recognize I felt a little neglected. Although at the time, I didn't know I felt neglected. But
right.
And so for me, having a guy who checked on me, where you going, what you doing, and everything like that, who was affectionate. My parents are great, but they're not the most affectionate people all the time. And again, as a child, I didn't think that mattered. But when I started getting it from a guy, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. And so I tolerated a lot from these men because they gave me things that I felt that I lacked. And also I ignored the warning signs of their dysfunction, because the things that actually were like little indicators and hints that they were dysfunctional, I interpreted as, oh, he wants me.
He loved me.
He loved me.
He liked me. He don't want nobody
else. His jealousy is just like, that's not a big deal. That's just what you do when you like somebody.
Yeah, but again, back to being in school and everybody's boyfriend is grabbing them and, twisting your arm or pushing you or telling you, stand right here, don't move.
Everybody doing that.
Everybody was doing that. And so now I am very keyed into when I see younger guys and girls and I see the guy like grabbing a girl or being aggressive, I may even get the little girl to own it by herself and be like, baby, that's not love.
You've done that?
Absolutely. Or I've been at the train and said a little boy, why you grabbing her like that? Don't do that. Why you push her? You're a man. I have. Because though that just like triggers something in me. Like that's a sign. You know, my little cousins, I'm like, if he talking to you like that, that's a sign. When somebody show you who they are, believe them. Believe them. But see, back then, I didn't know what that meant.
And I had nobody, you know,
nobody told me that. And actually, coming out of my last relationship, I'll never forget. I was in a relationship with a guy who really, he was a liar. He was a lying. I mean, I'm talking about the biggest liar
like
I know.
pathological liar.
Pathological
lied
liar.
unnecessarily.
Lie unnecessarily. Yes, just to lie to lie. And I remember one night he lied to me, and I turned into the abuser.
Really? What do you mean?
I picked up the remote control and I busted him in his face with it.
Really?
About 4 or 5 times.
What did he do when you did that?
Sat up on the bed and was like, you know what? Get out of my house. Cause you tripping. Like, if I feel like I need to put my hands on a woman, I don't need to be with you.
And you were doing that in response to him lying to you?
Yeah.
Girl, let me tell you, I did the same thing.
I'm sorry,
a remote
y'all.
though. I was dating this guy, and he was the same way, lying, cheating. And I went through his phone one night because I knew he was lying to me, and found pictures of in there of him with somebody else. People sending him pictures of him with the other people.
Come on now.
And so I woke up. I waited until first thing in the morning to wake him up. I didn't want to go off in the middle of the night. And so I woke up first thing in the morning, and I said, "Who is so and so? Huh?" I said, "Who is so and so?" I start going down the list of the names. And he jumps up. He's like, "Fuck this shit. I'm leaving." Okay. I'm leaving. He gonna walk in. That pissed me off. Don't walk
that
out.
Something.
Right? You need to respond. You need to explain to me. I'm in love with you. I'm up there having sex with you. We ain't using no condoms.
Oh yeah, we doing a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my boyfriend. Baby. He jumps up to walk out the door. I pushed him. No, you gonna come back. And he bigger than me. You gonna come back. He wouldn't come back here. So I jumped on his back as he's trying to walk out the door. And I squeezed my legs around him so tight. Like, I'm on his back. I'm squeezing my thighs. They got thighs on me. So I'm squeezing him so tight. He's like, my back, my back. Now I was fucking him up. So I'm like, no, you gonna listen to me. And he got all the way down to the ground. You not gonna motherfucking leave. You cheating on me. Da, da, da. Now, was I right to be hurt that you cheated on me? Yes. But was I the embodiment of the very type of abuse I had encountered? Absolutely.
And that's what we don't want to see sometimes. That sometimes we allow people to make us change our character of who we are.
When you stay in an abusive relationship, you end up having to change to survive it.
I did.
That's why I say...
I became a straight fighter.
Listen, I could be a cusser, a fighter, all of the above.
I did.
You know?
It's crazy because it got to the point with me where I started feeling like if this man hit me again, I'm going to kill him.
Which one?
My kid's father. It turned into me sleeping with knives under my pillow.
Because you were anticipating what he might do?
Anticipating that if he come home and he get aggressive with me, tonight is the night.
You were living like you in a battlefield,
I was in a battlefield. I was in a battlefield that, come on, I'm ready. And I would say before he went to prison, I was like 27 years old. And I did stab him before, you know, and if he was ever watching this, he'd probably be like, girl, you ain't telling the whole story. What about when you stabbed me? I sure did. And I did.
Why you stab him? You know I gotta ask why.
Damn.
You hate to say I stabbed his ass or not.
I did.
It's the past.
You know, I did. I mean, that's the past and it's real. And I'm very
And you were living in
the battlefield. I was in war.
Yeah, that affects your mind, honey.
I'm gonna be honest. I'll never forget that morning I woke up and I was 9 months pregnant. And I'm saying to him, we don't have a crib. And he said, I'm gonna get the crib when I get the crib. Now, you've been doing a lot of stuff during this pregnancy right here that I've been tolerating. I said, let's go get that crib. Man, I ain't get no crib. And then he started to act as if he was gonna push me or do something, and I blacked out. He ran in the bathroom, locked himself in there, was screaming. I was like, yeah, I told you. I told you to stop. I told you to stop. And after that day, I will say that the abuse kind of like slowed down a bit.
Of course it did.
Because he was like, yeah, she's not playing with me.
You think that, you should have left once the first thing happened. People say, why didn't you leave when
Don't
the first
ask me
happened?
that.
Honey, because the reality, it doesn't start with them hitting you in the face,
No.
pushing you downstairs, nothing like that. It starts with the yelling is just a little too loud. It starts with the yelling that led to a push that leads to a light hit that leads to a slap. And in between all this is a whole lot of apologies and a whole lot of commitment.
And I'm sorry. And you're confused because you like, I love this person. Oh, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna fix them. Oh, he didn't have his mother. Oh, he didn't have, you know, as an empath, you constantly are feeling sorry for that individual. And then you look at this person and you say, he really is hurt. Dad, he didn't mean to do that.
And what I did to him, I did yell. I mean, he slapped me, but I yelled.
I yelled first.
I did yell first.
I shouldn't have did that.
And I was questioning him too much.
Why did I keep doing that? Why did I look at his phone?
I shouldn't have done that.
I'm a cook. And then this is real.
This is absolutely
real.
real.
What you really doing, you know?
Yes.
And I, you know, for me, I started, when my kid's father went to jail, I had to sit down one day and recognize all the abuse that I had gone through, all the, how confusing and mixed up our relationship was. First of all, because we were too young to be in the type of relationship we was in.
And two broken people who were attracted to each other.
Me not having a father, him not having his mother. What does that is a combination for disaster.
We often are attracted to people who've got complementary trauma.
Absolutely.
I call them your shadows. So we create a shadow bond.
Yep. You look at
your shadow or a trauma bond.
Yep. It's the truth.
That's why I never get too caught up in when someone tells me I'm in a long-term relationship with somebody who's been abusing me this whole time. I still say, yes, you're in an abusive relationship. I know it's bad and I don't blame you for it. But what's going on with you while you got into this in the first place and have stayed here? Because you got something crazy that don't exist by itself. Y'all, it's something going on here. And not say you crazy too. But your trauma is here with his trauma or her trauma. And if you want to end the cycle of abusive relationship, it's not just a matter of getting away from the abuser. You got to get away from, you got to deal with the person inside of you that's traumatized, that's attracting and maintaining these things and participating.
Absolutely. And this is maybe off the subject a little bit, but I don't know if y'all been watching that R. Kelly Survivor thing.
I watched all of them.
I watched all of them, and I've watched them multiple times.
Me too. It's good.
It's good. But let me just tell you one thing that I recognized about all of those women in the video.
What?
They were all looking for someone to love them.
You better say that.
Every last one of them. The first girl, she said, he didn't even have to pay me to braid his hair.
I remember that.
All I cared about is that it was R. Kelly. You know, as women, and I'm not going to just say women, men too, we all are looking for someone to fulfill something in us. For me, the bad thing about my relationship with my kid's father was that he was a provider. So every time he broke something or did something, he came home with a piece of jewelry. He came home with a new car. Let's go buy a house. Let's go on vacation. Oh my God, I love you. Here goes some earrings. Oh my God, let's go to dinner. You know, he crying. So it's like
that crying used to get me, baby.
That thing got me. But then now at 44 years.
You better own that shit, baby. You better own that. 40 with new titties.
I'll be 44 on Tuesday. But 44 years old, I have really stood in my trauma. I mean, I have stood in my trauma head on in the mirror with myself and dug deep into my own heart and cried and looked at this woman and accepted her.
Did you like what you saw when you first looked at her?
I love her. I love her so much because this chick has been through so much shit. And the thing about it is that her scars are not shown on the outside, but they're still there. And the thing about it is that I've taken the Band-Aids off. And because the Band-Aids are off, I'm allowing them to ooze. And with the oozing, it allows me to be transparent. Because anything that you keep a Band-Aid on, you're letting the toxicity out. And it's allowing me to talk and to let it out and to grow and to become this amazing butterfly that I know I was created to be.
You're not hiding from your trauma.
I ain't hiding from the trauma. I don't got a problem. You could write what you want to write. Yep, I stabbed his ass. I sure did. And guess what?
Plenty of women watching some stabbing.
And if another one come this way and ever thought that he was going to put his hands on me, I feel sorry for him.
You wouldn't attract that kind of man in the first place.
And I don't.
Not now.
I don't.
Let me ask you a question. For your daughter, she's, moving into her grown womanhood and she is going to be dating and getting to know men. And none of us are equipped with the barometer to be able to just to tell who's a good man, who's a bad man. All you see up front is he attractive, you know, whatever. What are you going to teach her, or what are you teaching her for that matter, to help equip her to be able to find men who are going to be healthy for her, so that she doesn't find that person who does to her what her father did to you?
Love yourself first. I tell her that every day. Love you. I didn't love myself. I didn't even know who I was. When I mentor young girls, I always tell them, get to know yourself first, love yourself first, know what you want. Because we can tell, we can say all day long what we don't want, but what do you want? Do you really know what you want? What is the characteristics of the man that you want to attract? I never knew those things.
You know, that's a good point.
I never knew. Man, it was about the car. Listen, when I met my kid's father, it was about that curly, beautiful hair, that polo sweatsuit, them New Balance tennis shoes. It was about all of these outer surface things, but he was all mush in the inside. Mush, just all pus. It was all mushy.
When I met my guy, the most abusive guy I was ever with, it was about, he showed me consistent attention. He, the sex was bomb. I love that. He bought me things and took great care of me. I felt provided for. I felt cared for. I felt, he always had a compliment for me. He made me feel good. He boosted my self-esteem so much. What I didn't realize was that the broken places in me, that he seemed to be feeling that these are spaces that I should have been healing for myself, but I didn't even know I was broken.
Absolutely.
So I thought that this was a God's gift to me, to have a man who treated me so good, took good care of me, loved me the right way, what I thought was loved me the right way. But really what he was doing was he was love bombing me and distracting me from his toxicity and his brokenness. And then once I was so hooked in that it wasn't going to be easy for me just to let go of him emotionally, that's when I saw the real man. That's when I saw the hits. That's when I saw the push down the stairs. That's when I saw getting pushed out of a moving car. You know what I mean?
But you were so into it by then.
And you know what it was? I always kept attributing it, his behavior to, it was just this time, it won't happen again. And so I didn't want the relationship to end. What I wanted most was just for the abuse to stop. And I was convincing myself, if I stay long enough, it's going to stop. If I stay long enough, it's going to stop. If I change me, I went and got a damn therapist to work with, because he would always tell me, see, that's your problem. You got trust issues. You got this. And I did have trust issues. I didn't trust him, but I was supposed to be trusting because he's a hoe. You know? And so I thought it was me. And so I went to a therapist.
For him.
Yeah, to say, how can I change? What can I do? Because I'm trying to protect my relationship. And I never said nothing bad about him at first. She says, well, can you talk to me a little bit about him? And I was still trying to protect him, didn't say much. Couple sessions into the therapy, I finally shared a little bit more. She's like, how do things happen when y'all get angry with each other? What does that look like? You told me how you come across. What about him? So I told her how it was and what I was dealing with. And so I said, I think I have an anger management issue because I think I have an anger management issue because I be screaming at him and yelling at him. And she says, do you walk in and just screaming at him and yelling at him? I was like, no. She's like, so what's triggering it? I was like, I guess I'm responding to him. She says, exactly. She says, you have adapted who you are to be able to live in a war zone.
Yeah.
It's not you that needs to change. It's you who needs to get out of it and then work on the parts of yourself that allows you to believe that this was okay.
Wow. And
that changed my mindset. And then when I got my power, I felt like Tina Turner. When she was in the car, she beat Ike's ass in Dallas. And she beat the fuck out of him.
He deserved that.
He did. Too. I felt like I was her. So I'm sitting in there. And I remember the first time that I really struck back at him. He said something to me. I don't know what it was that he said. But he said something to me. Oh, with the whole thing about jumping on his back. I jumped on his damn back. About that. When you answer my questions about this person. I jumped on his back. And the next time we're sitting there talking, he's screaming at me. And, doing those little things to let me know I will beat your ass. Like don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Don't jump out there.
Right. Don't jump out there.
Don't jump out
and
there.
And I looked at him, I said, you can do whatever you want.
That's how I got
You can do whatever you want. That
I ain't
pissed him
running.
off.
No, because then he knew, you got your power. You ain't supposed to have no power.
You ain't supposed to have no power. And it got bad. And then finally, when I left him? My father. My father called me up. And my father said, I heard some things about your relationship. I don't think my father even knows that he had this influence. I heard some things about this relationship you've been in. And he says, what happened to your godfather? I was like, no. So your godfather was allegedly killed by his partner.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a jealous rage or whatever situation. he said, you know, my father, he don't know a whole lot about gay men and everything like that, but he did the best he said.
Of what he knew.
He said, you know, men can be very emotional and they can be very reactive. Because
different.
He says, you know, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but he said, I don't want this relationship to kill you. And my father never would talk to me about my dating life, you know, said that to me. I listened to him. And that voice played in my head over and over and over and over again until I finally left him. Because I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
I said, he's going to kill me eventually.
It's crazy because in my relationship, it took him to go to prison. And I prayed for him to go away because I did not know how to get out of that relationship. I didn't know. You know, by this time I got 2 kids. We living in this fairy tale life where everything looks so amazing on the outside. Where am I going? Where am
Y'all
I
had a
running
house.
to? We had a house. We got kids, you know. We look like we living a life, you know. And on the external, we was. But for me, I wasn't happy, you know. I was hurt and really broken in the inside. And it just came to the point that when he went to prison, that's when I started to figure out who I was. I had time to like look at myself, you know, and think about, oh my God, you've had a black eye before.
Because it was the norm at that time. It was the norm. Put some concealer on and keep it moving.
Nah, honestly, you know, I lived in a bubble with him, so I just didn't go around nobody.
Really? Did any of your family members or friends ever come to you and ask about it? What would they say?
They would be like, girl, oh my God. Or I can remember being in high school, going to school, they'd be like, oh my God, why is your eye like that? I'd be like, girl, we was in a car accident. Oh my God, girl, you do not know. My head hit so hard, girl. Oh my God.
Making up a whole story.
For this nigga. And then he come picking me up. And then I get in the car and be like, I fucking went to school today. Everybody's looking at my eye. And I'm crying.
Knowing
and I'm
you
like,
lying.
why? But then why am I sitting here with you? That's how now I can sit back and say that I wasn't in a healthy state at that point in my life.
Yeah.
Because if you're healthy, you don't allow someone to hurt you. But I don't judge any, like I've heard people say, well, I would never let a man hit me. Or I would never. Couldn't have been me. And see, people like that, I wish we had a call in. You know, where people could call in and talk and ask me questions.
Let's see if we can add that in the future.
Yeah, that would
be great.
I would love to talk to you. You know what I mean? And give you a little insight.
Give them insight as if they're on the phone now. Give them some
absolutely,
insight.
because a person, you know, one thing about me is I'm not weak by a long shot. I ain't weak. I ain't stupid. I'm not none of those things. But at that point in my life, I didn't know how to get away. I didn't know where to go, what to do. Oh, you could have go to your mama's house. Really? No, I really couldn't. I could have, but then I'm going there for her to only tell me, well, why would you have dealt with this?
Yeah, that's the thing. The people who are in your support system, sometimes their form of support is not helpful.
No.
It's the why would you and you should have. It's not the support you need, and you're dealing with the embarrassment of being in a relationship that has turned so sour more than you could have ever imagined because you didn't get into this knowing he's going to be beating your ass.
No.
And then you're embarrassed by that. Your self-esteem is low because of all the shit he's telling you and doing to you. And you're supposed to go to these people who in a lot of cases are not going to boost you up. They're going to do well, you should have had you known. And you know it's coming from, and you know it's coming from love, but it's not helpful. So you isolate yourself.
You isolate yourself. You just have to be aware. You know, you got to be aware when people show you who they are. You have to believe them. And you have to search inside of yourself and figure out what are you giving off or what are you allowing?
What are you allowing? Why are you attracted to this? That was most helpful for me personally to understand why I was allowing abuse was to identify what I was attracted to about it. And what I was attracted to was that generally speaking with abusers, they tend to love bomb you at first. What I mean by that is they tend to give you a lot of attention. They want to lock you down in a relationship first. So the things that they do can feel very good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I had to recognize I'm attracted to that. And I keep getting these abusive guys because I'm attracted to the things that are really early signs.
Yeah.
They were attracted to me. And I had to deal with what part of myself feels like I need a man to be in my face constantly and trying to all that attention. I remember one time somebody asked me, they said, what do you want in a man? I said, I want this, I want that. I want a very protective man. I love a protective man, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody said, why do you need a very protective man? I said, well, I don't know. They said, are you like getting in the fights? I said, no. Well, you have security when you go. I said, yeah, at times. Why do you need a protective man? I said, I like that. But then she said to me, she said, but with a very protective man, sometimes they can be very aggressive too. So have you thought about how
the difference, how that meshes together?
The thing that I thought I was attracted to was actually the thing that was hurting me most. Possessive.
That's the thing.
That used to feel good.
Somebody being like, where you at? What you doing?
Oh, you feel good.
Get home.
You get to know you got your friends. Girl, he just tripping.
Girl, let me call you back. Let me get, okay.
Uh-huh.
Nah, not now.
Yeah.
I want somebody busier than me.
Really?
Yeah. They got to be busy.
I love that. Tell me about that.
Because listen, if you're busy and I'm busy, when we get together, we gonna get busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean
and you got things to talk about.
Sexual, but getting together is like, oh my God, I miss you. I love you. You know, you want to just cuddle. You want to be into each other. If I'm with someone and you're busy and I'm busy, I don't want to be on my phone.
Because you cherish the time together.
Absolutely. But if I'm with somebody that's texting me all day and where are you and why you not answering, I don't need that in my life right now because I'm in a position, I'm about my money.
You know, that is a thing for me. If a man comes at me at this point in my life and tells me I'll make time for a man, but basically telling me that I can't do what I need to do and that my money making is an issue. I like the kind of man where you call me up, hey baby, I'm about to film. Can I call you back in an hour? Yeah, baby, do what you gotta do. Take your time, call me in the morning. So I'm gonna go to bed by the time you call me back anyway. And I need that kind of man. I need the kind of man where he's not gonna be threatened by how I show myself. You and I are both we exude sexual energy. Not that we're trying to have sex with everybody, but it just comes out of us.
That's just who I am.
We wear, exactly, who we are. I need the kind of man who's not gonna see it as a threat, but like, you need to put on more clothes. No, baby. He's just like, I love that, baby.
Don't change me.
Can we say that?
Don't try to change me. I'm not even in a position to do that. Cherish me, and let me just say this: I like a man that want to walk behind me and just watch how everybody else watching.
Yes.
See, that type of man turns me on because that means that he's confident,
insecure,
and he wants me to be sexy. He wants me to look good. He want to see me move. He wants to watch how my body moves and the type of attention that I exude when I'm out. I don't want a man that's like, man, put your jacket on. Why are you doing all that? You
it's the biggest turn off.
That is a very insecure man.
My mother has said to me, like that. She said, I can't either. My mother she said to me, and she had no negative intention, it's just a question she asked. She said, this was when I first started to be more showy on camera, to show my body, which I'm very comfortable with. And she said, well, how are you going to meet a good man if you like that? And it's a very honest question.
She's old school.
She's old school. My mother's 64 years old. She's thinking from her mindset. Absolutely. And I get that. And what I told her, because I received what she was saying, but what I told her, I said, Mom, the kind of man I want wouldn't be uncomfortable with this. Absolutely. I said, if he's uncomfortable, he's not the kind of man for me. I'm an entertainer. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable with my body. I went through years to get comfortable with my body. So I wasn't comfortable because of all the sexual abuse I had gone through. So the kind of man that I want is going to cherish me in the fullness of who I am and not try to dim my light.
Absolutely. And then you got to remember, ladies, when you with a man or guys that try to change you, don't wear your hair like that. Why you got that lipstick on? Why I can remember being younger and dudes saying to me, man, you wear red lipstick, man. That's your signature. But that's my shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's what I do. You're not gonna get me to change this because I've been wearing this since 9th grade. It ain't happening. I'm like, this is a different variation of red, but it's gonna always be red. But when someone tried, man, tone it down a little bit. I'm not the chick for you.
That's a red flag.
I'm not the girl for you, baby.
He telling you to tone it down?
I'm not the girl for you. And we have to be confident in ourselves to know who is for us. That's knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Knowing what you need. When you don't know, I tell my son this. You're going to meet a whole lot of girls. You're going to meet light-skinned ones, dark-skinned ones, big butt ones, big titty ones. Some of them got respect for themselves. Some want to have sex. Not saying, you can have sex.
All the spectrum.
All different spectrums of them. But what do you want?
I love that. The consciousness of that. I didn't know that. I would react to any man who wanted me because my self-esteem was so low that I felt honored that a man would want me, or a man who's attractive or got money or this, that, the other. And I would just, you want me? Okay, I'm going to go with it. See? And then just attract the most predatory, abusive kind of men that you could imagine.
I run an all men's nail salon. So I spend...
She keeps me looking fabulous.
90% of my time with men.
You do.
And nobody knew that when I started the first men's nail salon, how nervous I was.
Were you?
I was so nervous and so uncomfortable. I'll never forget the first day that I had to walk down that hall, sit in front of a man with his feet out, and start a conversation. Because I had control.
You did.
I had to have control of that scene. You know, I see new men on a regular basis, and they all are coming to me. They knock on my door, boom, boom, boom. Then they come in. It's all white men, black men, Asian men, Spanish, all different fat men, skinny men. You know, all the attractive men, unattractive men, all different spectrums of men. And one thing that I've never lost in my business is my self-respect and my self-control, and acknowledging that I have to have control. I have to exude control in my presence and in my character for what I do. Because I could have early on lost my business from men coming in that showed me attention and thinking, oh, he wants me. No, this is a business.
This is a business.
This is a business. I have girls that come to me all the time and say, did he just come out your room? Yeah. Girl, okay.
It's a business.
This is, girl, he paid me. This is my job.
And he's going to come back and
he's coming back. But if I played the game the way you played the game, he wouldn't come back.
No. The thing about it is this, is when you come onto these men and you, how can I put it? When you operate from a place of giving them the control.
Come on.
You lose everything with them. You have to be in control of yourself at all times, have agency over yourself. And that was hard for me because coming out of being sexually abused, my thing was I gave men a lot of control. If you wanted to have sex with me, I had sex with you. You know, in terms of we in a situation, we laying down and it's like, okay, he's pushing for that. My ability to say no, I didn't know how to. You want to date me? I ended up in several relationships because they stuck around long enough. When we gonna be in a relationship? When we gonna be in a relationship? And I finally, okay, I kind of gave into it. I didn't have agency over myself, and so I operated for a long time, afraid of I don't want another man to hurt me. I don't want another man to hurt me. But the reality that I had to accept for myself was that you don't need to live worrying about which man gonna hurt you and all that other stuff. When you operate from a space of saying, no, I'm in control. I'm in control of me and what I allow. And if someone shows me signs that they are toxic, I don't even have to deal with them. It's just I'm in control of me.
And you know, it's really funny because everybody deals with those type of situations differently. For me, you know, and now it made me think, you know, you asked me early on about some of my first abusive relationships. I was raped in 9th grade. So in 9th grade, I went to Potomac High School, and I had gotten raped by my best friend's brother's best friend.
Okay, I got you.
And that experience for me made me take control of my body in a way of don't touch me unless I tell you to.
You went the opposite.
So I'm opposite. I'm still that way. Don't touch me. I don't care if this shoulder looks delicious to you.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. I could be in a club and a dude touch me my whole life. Don't touch me.
Don't do it.
Don't do it unless I tell you to. If I'm in a relationship, and any dude that's watching this that know me, that you've been in a relationship with me, you already know how I am. If I don't give you the go, that means stop. So that's how I went in. I went into this is my body. Yeah. I own this. Yeah. I don't care how juicy, how luxurious, however you look at me, don't touch me.
See, I remember being out and about and somebody, I'm walking through a room and somebody grabs at me because I'm
gonna be like this.
I just would smile off and I'd be like, and don't stop it.
But I have friends like that. All of my girlfriends were like that. They would be like, how do you say no? It made me more aggressive. Yeah. To the point like, dude, Did I give you permission to touch me? And I'm still that way. We could be at the bar and a dude is being too clingy, and I'm gonna be like, so are you buying a drink or you not? Ooh. Because in my mind, if I'm at the bar and there is a man that ain't made the move, I mean, yeah, if you at the bar with me and you taking up air, you taking up space from the next dude that might
love that though.
That might, you know what I'm saying? So you got me and my homies, or what are you doing? Because otherwise we about to buy our own drinks and you need to move on.
How do men respond to that?
Damn, shorty, let me get a bottle for these ladies right here. But it made me say, after that situation that happened to me, this man violated me. Yeah. And I had to go to school the next day
and
face
nothing
him.
happened.
Like nothing happened. And then it turned into him thinking he gonna hug me and kiss me. Dude, I never gave you permission to touch me. So I went into a point to myself that even to this day, if I don't give you the green light, and to me, a lot of men think that no means yes. If I say no, no means no.
I had to learn that, and I'm still learning. That's why I love having friends like you, because I have had to learn. This honestly an area that I'm still growing in, is being able to say no when I want to say no. Now I can say no sexually, but if like out and about someone touches me, I was really proud of myself because a couple weeks ago I was out someplace at this big event. I'm walking through the crowd and I felt somebody grab my butt.
I wish you would.
And I looked back, I couldn't see who did it because it's a big crowd. And then it happens again. I turn to the side and it's a guy, he's sitting there smirking. And so I turned back around, just like whatever, trying to squeeze through the crowd. And it happens again. So I reached out, grabbed his hand, and yanked it up in the air in front of all my friends. I said, why do you keep on grabbing my ass? Now, of course, all my friends, big old dudes. Huh?
And see, for me, I would have clawed him.
Really?
Because that makes me angry. To think that you think that you're supposed to touch me. I never, no. And if I would have been there, it would have been a whole little scene. Because I am really big on personal space
and personal respect.
Don't disrespect me. You could do a lot of things to me, but don't disrespect me.
But you know, for some folks who are hearing this right now, I can imagine some folks saying yes, girl, but some folks like, ooh, that's so aggressive.
Okay, whatever.
Let me tell you on both sides. For the people who are saying that may seem like an aggressive stance, let me tell you this. When you have been violated, when you've been abused and all these different things, you determine what coping mechanisms and ways of walking throughout this earth are going to allow you to feel safe. And, you know, for me personally, I admire that mindset because it's something I've had to learn to not let people violate me and repeatedly victimize me. Because I had to own the fact that you can't control what somebody else does, but you can control what you allow them to do. You can control holding them accountable.
That's the thing.
You can get angry. Being angry is not bad rage. It's not bad rage. It's something that you need to manage. But anger, you can be righteously angry. Like, no, you did this. You should not touch me. I'm not going to tolerate that. And that's something I've had to learn. So I would really recommend to anybody who's watching this right now is if you are someone where you struggle with holding people accountable who are violating you, what would it look like to give yourself permission to feel what you actually feel?
And not only that, if you follow me, you see, I give myself permission to love myself. That's a big thing for me. Is giving myself permission to love myself, because there were times when I did not know if I could make it through today to get to tomorrow, to love myself tomorrow. Because of pain. You know what I'm saying? So now that I'm in a space and a place where I recognize I want to feel. That's just like some people take meds to not feel. I'm not a person who wants to numb out. I want to know what's happening to me. I want to feel it. I want to go through it. I don't want to go around it. Take me through that shit.
That's the only way to learn the lesson. If you don't allow yourself to go through it, you're not going to get the lesson from it.
And you won't get the blessing. Because I believe that all of the things that I have gone through has taken me to this place where I can sit in front of this camera, that I can talk about my pain, and that I can help somebody else. So that's why I say you have to look at yourself, accept things that you don't like, and change them. Meaning, like you just now said, I don't want to walk through a crowd and somebody grab me. then when you walking through the crowd, you gotta be intentional about saying no. Don't fucking touch me. I didn't give you permission to touch me. What makes you think? What am I exuding to make you think that you can touch me? Hell no.
You don't have permission to do that.
You don't have permission to do that. And you don't even gotta be volatile. You can even talk. Don't do that. Don't do that. They're gonna respect you because see, in that moment, they think that they could do it. But the moment you tell them no, a lot of dudes or women or whomever will be like, oh, damn.
It's a boundary.
My bad. He got boundaries.
I'm receiving this right now, if y'all can't tell, because this is still something that I'm working through. I spent so many years protecting the people who had abused me that
that's hard.
I didn't develop, I didn't learn how to hold people accountable who hurt me. And so now at this point in my life, of now saying it's okay to hold people accountable, now I'm learning how to do that.
And that you're going to do it.
Yes. And that has been tough. And then you add the fame on it, where you have people coming at you constantly. You have to have better boundaries or she'll be eaten alive. It's forcing me at this point to learn better boundaries. You know what I mean? To be able to say no, stop. That doesn't work for me. And I will say 70% of the time I do it and I'm happy with it. Sometimes I'm like, shoot, I wish I would have said something. But it's better than before where I did it none of the times. Let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you this before we even close it out. How old were you when you said you remember your first abusive relationship? You said 16, was it?
14.
14. If you could go back to that 14-year-old girl and tell her a short lesson, a quick lesson that would equip her for what she was going to encounter, maybe even to help her avoid some of that, what would you go and tell her?
Be very mindful of the company that you keep. You know, you don't gotta hang around those girls. They're not like you. You think different. You move different. Go home. Go get into your books. Go prepare for your future. You don't gotta go outside. Ain't nothing out there. Stay focused. Love yourself. I think that was the thing for me. It was being around people that I knew wasn't for me at times, being in places that I knew I shouldn't have been, just wanting to just be a part of the environment. Again, as parents, one thing that we got to realize is that I would always tell my mom when we would move certain places, I would say, you just get in your car and go to work. But I got to go outside and go to school with these people.
It's like a war zone. I remember growing up out there in Temple Hills. It was hell.
Do you understand how many kids was at the bus stop to go to school? All these little bullies. You learn, man, listen.
I used to wait to go to the bus stop until I saw the bus pull up, then I'd run down the street because I didn't want to be near them. And I'd sit on the bus. I'd always sit right in the front by the bus driver. So I didn't want, the back was a war zone.
The back, you about to get, it's on.
I didn't want to deal with that.
And I got right into it. You know, so I would tell her that you know who you are. You know who you are. You don't got to be in the mix of all of this. Because back then I didn't know that. So that's why now I can be a loner. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being a loner because I know what I want.
It allows you to be more selective about who you allow into your space.
Absolutely. And that's what I would tell her. Be very selective.
You know what I would tell me? So
Little Malcolm.
I was raped. I was first raped when I was 14. What I would tell that little boy, that young man, is I would say something in the direction of what you said earlier. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Until.
And if you don't, and if they don't do something about it, tell somebody else and keep telling people until they do something about it. And really above all, I would tell that little boy that you need to love yourself. You need to love yourself more than you love the love of somebody else. Because if you can love and value yourself at the highest level possible, you will literally be a repellent to the unhealthy people. They won't be able to stand around you, and you'll attract them better people. And also I told that little boy that I would say it's okay for people to be mad at you. I allow so much abuse within my life because I didn't want to make people mad at me. I didn't want people to be mad at me. I didn't want this person to be mad at me for telling on what they did. I didn't want this person to be mad at me for breaking up with them. I didn't want this person to be mad. I was so much trying to protect everyone else's feelings. Meanwhile, they were dragging me emotionally, creating more trauma on top of trauma for me. And tell myself, it's okay for people to be mad at you.
Absolutely.
If you're doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
How do folks follow you? Because I know y'all be reaching out to her. She does take on coaching clients, but I'm going to tell y'all this, y'all reaching out to her and everything like that. This woman is one of the most amazing coaches. We don't talk about that a lot on here, but you are an amazing coach. But how do people reach out to you how do they follow you, how do they find you, all that kind of stuff?
So you can find, on my social media is Star Manicurist, or that's my personal page. And then my business page is Noir Men's Grooming. And I mean, I don't know if I should put my email out there.
No, just let them inbox.
Y'all just go ahead and inbox me, and we will be back on here talking about some
additional things. And if you yourself are in an abusive relationship, I know some of y'all are saying, I'm in it, y'all are calling me out, what do I do next? What I want you to do is I'm going to provide a link below this video or above this video, depending on where you're watching me, around resources and steps you can take if you find yourself in an abusive relationship. It is very complicated. The things that we did, it took a while for us to walk out. This wasn't easy. So the point of this video may not have been to teach you how to get out of it. It was to inspire you to know that there's a better life on the other side of it. And so if you're ready to get out of it, there are resources that can help guide you in that experience. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Let's get a good thumbnail for the people. Okay. Bye, y'all.